they're stuck. They're completely stuck about what to say. So I'm going to do a little diagram for you now. Bear with me, because my drawing's not great. So I think one of the main problems with self-harm in that it's a coping behaviour. It's a strategy. So this graph, this is time. I'm really worried that I'm going to knock this board over, so if I do, just ignore it. And this is intensity. Now this is something that really, really helped me to understand kind of why I kept self-harming. Because for so long I was like, I hate it, why am I doing it? I kept being drawn back to it. So if you think about an emotion, we all have emotions, be it they good, bad, positive, negative, whatever. We all have emotions. And what emotions do is they peak and then they disappear. So they climb in intensity and they will eventually drop. So be it whether you just lost someone or you won the lottery, you're really, really happy, but a couple of years down the line, you might begin to get a little bit less excited about the fact that you've got loads of money. It's just the way emotions work. Now the problem with self-harm and any kind of maladaptive behaviour is that you're climbing this emotion and it feels like it's too much. So by self-harming, by cutting or burning or whatever people do, you cut that emotion off. And by doing that, you feel better for a minute. It goes down. Now, in some ways, yes, this works because you cut the emotion off before it reaches its peak, before it gets any more intense. But the problem is by doing so, you're teaching yourself that the only way to lower that emotion, to lower the pain or whatever you're feeling, is to cut it off. So eventually from here, it will go up again. And again, you've got to cut it off at that same point. So you're teaching yourself by continuing to use the behaviour that you really do need that behaviour. And that's what happened to me. That's what happened to a lot of people. So one of the key things, I think, in stopping self-harm, one thing that I really found helpful, and that was incredibly difficult, I'm not going to lie to you, but worth it 100%, was to ride past this point, sit with the feeling. And I just hate it when people said that to me, sit with the feeling. It's like, you don't understand how horrible it is, and it is horrible, but eventually it will pass. It will pass, but by self-harming, that's what happens, just cut it off, and each time it goes up, what I found anyway, is that each time this difficult emotion came up, I was getting more impatient. So I was cutting it off sooner and sooner and sooner as it went on. So that's why the behaviour was becoming more and more and more frequent.